Welcome to the first video of the Digital Logic series. I'm going to be going over all of my old engineering notes, and first up I'm tackling digital logic. So if you're just starting your engineering degree, typically this is a second year class, and it's essentially the beginning of how machines think, not like AI, but just typical electronic systems that leads into control systems. In this video, we're going to go over number systems. How do we go from base 10, which is our normal decimal system, to binary, which is a base 2 system. We're going to go over how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide these numbers, as well as move to sign numbers, and by 4, which is single precision floating point numbers. So, how do machines think? Well, let's start with our number system. Our decimal system first starts with base 10, so that means that every digit is a position of power 10, so 10 to the whatever. So, for example, 347 can be written as 347, and each position is multiplied by a tenth to the power. So 3 times 10 to the second, 4 times 10 to the first, 7 times 10 to the 0. All of these can be added together to equal our number. Now here's another example, 2059. You can see each number is multiplied by 10 to its position and added together to equal the number. Now that we're familiar with the decimal system, let's look at the binary system. So in the binary system, we only have two symbols to represent our numbers, which is 0 and 1. And each position is a power of 2 because we only have two symbols to represent a number. So using the same mentality that we had in the decimal system, we can use this table to represent 8 bits. So we have our bit positions on the top and our values on the bottom, and that position is represented to that value. So in the 7th position, that's equal to 128. Same thing as 1 in the 2nd position for 10 represents 10. So for example, 1011, if we take its value times its position, then we add them all up together, then we get 11 in a decimal system. Second example, 1101, multiply its value by its position, and we get decimal 13. So how do we convert decimal to binary? In our example, we'll use the divide by 2 method, so we'll just take the number and continuously divide by 2. So 13 divided by 2, 6, remainder 1. Continue all the way down until we run out of numbers, and then the remainders we read bottom to top, and that's just our binary value. So 13 is 1101. In our second example, we'll use 45. So we'll take 45 divided by 2, 22, remainder 1, and we'll just continue down until we run out of numbers, read the remainders, bottom to top. That becomes our binary value. So 45 is written as 101101. Now how do we go inversely? So binary to decimal. We'll do exactly the opposite. So we'll take the binary value, multiply it by a power of its position, add them up, and then we get the value. So 13 is 1101. In the second example, we do 101101. We'll just take its number, multiply it by 2 to its position, add them up, and we'll get the resulting factor of 45 is the same thing as 101101 in binary. So what happens whenever we need to add, subtract, multiply, and divide binary? Well, we'll do the exact same rules that we learned in elementary. So our first example, we'll just take the two binary numbers and add them. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Carry it. And we just continue down until we run out of numbers. So this is the same thing as 11 plus 16, which is 17. So it's not that hard. Now let's look at another example. So we'll do the exact same thing. 1 plus 1 is 2, so we write 0, carry the 1, and we just continue. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, so we write 1, carry the 1, and we write our numbers. So 13 plus 11 is 24, which is written in binary. Now multiplication is just an extension of addition, so we'll just multiply like normal. But the cool thing is that we can just multiply and write the top number and then shift it over. So the zeros that are crossed out just show the shifted value, and the zeros multiplied by anything is 0. So then you just add on the bottom there. So we'll use another example. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just multiply, but rather than multiply, we'll just take 1 times the top number and then shift it over for every position. And again, these zeros that are crossed out just show that it's shifted. And then once you get down to this point, we just add like normal, write our number at the bottom, and that's the same thing as multiplying. Now, subtraction is a little bit different because we got to be careful about borrows. So 0 minus 1, we can't do that, so we got to borrow from the side. So we pull 1, cross it out, 0, and then we write 2 in binary, which is 1, 0. And then we can subtract 2 from 1, which is 1. And then we have to borrow again because 0 minus 1 can't do that. So we borrow again, but we got to borrow from that. So then we write 2, and then we can subtract down like normal. And this is the same thing as 10 minus 3, which is 7. So, not too difficult. Here's another example. So, 1 minus 0, that's easy. We can just write 1. 0, we got to borrow again. And then we got to borrow again and continue down to subtract. So, 13 minus 6 is 7. And division is just an extension of subtraction. So we find the farthest right where we can multiply the left number to subtract against, and that's the second position. Then we subtract down, bring down the zeros, and write them above. So this is the same thing as 12 divided by 3, which is 4, written at the top in binary. Second example. So what happens whenever it doesn't divide easily? Well, we just go like normal, find the farthest right where we can multiply the left number to subtract, and then we bring the numbers down. And then we find again, multiply, add, then subtract the numbers, and then this is written as 10 divided by 8, which is 1.25, and then it's just written like normal. So if you noticed, I haven't used any negative numbers in any of the examples. So how do we represent these negative numbers? So we have 3 different representations. Our first one is sign magnitude, which is just the most significant bit on the left here becomes our value that shows either negative or positive. So this one is positive because it's 0. In our second example, our negative number is 1 on the most significant bit on the left, which shows as negative, so that's negative 5. Now, this is good, but the problem is it takes up too many numbers. We can't represent as many. So 1's complement allows us to represent even more numbers. So rather than using that most significant bit, we actually just flip all of the bits. And the far left one becoming 1 shows that it's negative. So we write 6 like normal, invert all of the bits, 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0, and we write it as follows. So negative 13, we write 13 like normal, flip all the bits, and we have our 1's complement form. And that 1's still most significant bit, showing that it's a negative number. Now 2's complement allows us to use all of the numbers. It's the maximum amount of numbers that we can use to represent any negative number. So we write our 6 like normal, we invert all the bits, but then we add 1 to it. That becomes our 2's complement form of negative 6. And we'll do another example. Negative 13, write 13 like normal, invert all the bits like 1's complement, and add 1 to that, and we get our 2's complement form. Now for something a little more complicated. We're going to use the IEEE standard 754 single precision floating point numbers. So we have 32 bits to represent our first bit, our sign bit, then our next 8 bits, which are our exponent, and then our mantissa, which is the final 23 bits for our fractional. And we have used this formula to write the floating point numbers. First example, so we're going to do 6.75, and then we're going to write it in the form using these steps, and we get our final number to represent our fractional number. Now for our second example, we're going to take negative 0.375 and convert it into the IEEE standard 754 using these steps, and we finally get our final answer represented in 32 bits. I'm going to admit, I don't really understand the last section, but we're going to move on to 2's complement arithmetic. So if we look at some rules here first, for 5 bits, then we have a range from negative 16 to 15. We're always going to have one more position for our negative numbers than 15. Then 2's complement, we invert all the bits, add 1, discard any carryout for the most significant bit for at least the arithmetic. So first addition, our first example, remember, we gotta add normally, but discard the most significant bit. So, first example, 7 plus negative 3. So we're gonna write 7 and negative 3. We're gonna add like normal. So remember the carries. Now on our last carry, if we have any extra, we discard them. So here we discarded 4, which is the correct number. And we didn't have to invert anything. So, negative 5 plus negative 4. We write them like normal into 2's complement form, add like normal. We don't have to do subtraction. Now we have an extra carry, discard that, and then we have our regular negative 9 written into 2's complement form already, and we're good. It just works. Now for subtraction. We're going to do the exact same thing, but for subtraction, we got to invert the bits, then add normally if we have a negative number. So we have on our bottom, we have a subtraction, so we'll invert, bring it into 2's complement, add like normal, and we get our answer. So 7 minus 3 is 4. And remember to discard any carries on the most significant bit. Second example, 5 minus negative 4. So we'll take the subtrahand, the negative number, and invert it, or get it out of 2's complement, add like normal, and we get our answer. So 5 minus negative 4 is positive 9. No carry bit, so we get our answer. Now for multiplication. Multiplication is just a little bit different because we got to take mental note of the resultant sign. So if a negative times a negative is a positive, or a negative times a positive would be a negative, and then a positive times a positive is obviously a positive, then we multiply like normal and then apply the sign at the end. So for example, 5 times 3, we're just going to multiply like normal because we got 2 positive numbers. So our resultant number will be positive. So multiplying like normal, and then we add at the end. We get our answer, but because it's positive, we don't have to do anything. That's our final answer. Now our second example, we're going to have a negative answer at the end. So we got to take mental note of that. Multiply like normal. So easy way is just to write the number again. We'll add, but because our answer is negative, we got to flip it into 2's complement form, and then that's our final answer. And division, very much like multiplication, uses the exact same rules. So we got to take mental note of the resultant sign, divide like normal, and then apply the sign to the result. So our first example, 15 divided by 3, positive number, so we don't have to do anything out of the ordinary, so we'll just divide like normal, take the multiplication on the top against the left number, then subtract the resultant, and then we'll get our final answer of 5 for 15 divided by 3. And again, we don't have to do anything with the sign because a positive divided by a positive is a positive. Now our second example, we have 100 divided by negative 25, so we'll have to remember that it is going to be negative at the end, so we'll have to invert the 25, get it out of 2's complement, then divide like normal, and then because our result is negative, we gotta flip it back into 2's complement, which is our result of -4. And here's a summary of all of the different arithmetic for 2's complement form for you guys to remember. Alright, that'll be it for this episode. So here's just a summary for all of the different things I went over. So number systems and conversion, as well as arithmetic in 2's complement form, and floating point precision numbers. In the next video, I'm going to cover octal and hexadecimal forms, as well as BCD and gray code, as well as parity bits and ASCII code encoding. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, and hopefully there will be much more episodes, and I'll continue this video series as well as other topics. Thank you.